Baba is our Satguru, and the only Satguru who gives us Shrimat, the supreme direction. So you see that Baba has told us that Baba is the Father, the Teacher and the Satguru. For I, the soul. As a father, what Baba gives is the inheritance. As a teacher, Baba gives directions and Baba gives teachings, And as the Satguru, Baba gives directions. And Baba says, the most elevated direction, that which is called Shrimat. Shrimat means elevated directions. Shresht Mat. Shrimat means Shresht Mat, which means elevated direction. So the most elevated direction that Baba the Satguru gives is children be soul conscious. And Baba says that you have to follow the direction of the Satguru, because if you follow the direction of the Satguru, then the Satguru will take you to Mukti and Jivan Mukti. So in the world we have gurus. And why do we go to a guru? Because we think that they know the method or the path to liberation and liberation in life. But Baba says that no guru in the world knows the path to liberation. Nobody can show you the path to liberation. And Baba also today specifies that, in the world there are various methods which humans give, and those human beings who call themselves gurus will give you various methods, and they will say that if you do this, then you will go to Mukti. Yes, and people follow those paths because they think that if they did it, then they would never have to come back on the stage and experience sorrow. So they follow all of that. And I have talked to many people who are in sannyas or who follow practices given by gurus, and then they will remember the Brahma, or they will leave homes, or they will just stand on one feet, or they will live a life of an ascetic, and then they think that this is how you will attain mukti. But Baba says that Baba says all those methods that are given by physical gurus are false, and nobody can take you to liberation. And Baba says that I am the only Satguru, and I teach you the method to go to liberation and liberation in life. And here we would also try to understand that when Baba says liberation, and when you say mukti or liberation in the world, there is a difference. So people think that once you go to liberation, then you will never come back and play your part on the stage. But Baba tells us that liberation means we souls will go back home, but that doesn't mean that we will not come back and play our part. We will all go back home, but then we will all come back number wise. We will not come back all at one time. So some will come first, some will come after that, some will come after that, but we'll all come back number wise and play our parts. But Baba says that when any soul comes back to the stage from the home, they do not experience sorrow in the beginning. They experience happiness in the beginning. And Baba says those who come initially in Satyuga and Treta Yuga, they experience what is called liberation in life, which means that you are in a body, you are living in the world, but there is no trace of sorrow. You don't even know what sorrow is. So Baba says, you are ignorant to even the concept of sorrow. And Baba says, that is what I give you. I take you back home and I give you the gift of liberation in life. When you come, you will come to that world of happiness where there will be no trace of sorrow. And Baba says, for that, do you know that in the world there is this idea of complete surrender to the Guru? Yes, and whatever the Guru says, you have to do. So you have to follow the directions of the Guru. And in the world, when somebody goes to a Guru and the Guru says, do this, let's say he says, just feed the cow every day. Yes, and that person would very religiously feed the cow every day, because it is said that satguru ka nindak thor na paye, which means if you don't follow the directions of the Guru, then you will not receive the destination. But Baba says that is a false idea when it is said about physical gurus. But Baba says, I am the Satguru, I am God, and when you don't follow my directions, then you don't get the destination, which is you don't get a position in Satyug. Yes, so Baba says you want to come to that world of happiness, so you can only come there if you follow my directions. And what are the directions that Baba gives us? So Baba says, my first and foremost direction is be soul conscious. Now you see, understanding the knowledge of the soul and being soul conscious are two different things. Yes, one may know that I am a soul and I have a mind, intellect, sanskar, and I do everything through the body, and then I've taken 84 births, I live in the soul world. You may have all the information about the soul, but you may be pretty body conscious. Yes, so Baba says, first you have to understand the knowledge of the soul, and then you have to practice to be soul conscious. Yes, and do you practice to be soul conscious? Because Baba always says that, and today Baba specifies that before the class starts, 15 minutes you have to practice soul consciousness. And in accordance with Baba's Srimad, have you seen that we start the classes at 7:30, and then there is a meditation, there is a song, and then there is a 10 to 12 minutes meditation after that. And why is that pattern set like that? Because it is Baba's directions that you cannot imbibe knowledge until and unless you have had that 15 minutes of practice of soul consciousness and remembrance of Baba. And you see, in the world it is said that if you take a bath and then take breakfast, then that breakfast, that food you eat, will be absorbed in your body. Have you heard that? And these days people don't take a bath and they just directly take breakfast. But Baba says that no, you must, just like that wisdom is given in the world. So what is the spiritual counterpart of that? So Baba says taking a bath is having yoga. So once you sit in 15 minutes meditation, it's like taking a bath. The soul is taking the yoga bath. And then when you take the food of the knowledge, then that knowledge sits in your intellect. So this is why it's very important that you have yoga before you listen to the Murli. You have 15 minutes of yoga before class. And I will tell you my practice. So before conducting the class, every time I have at least half an hour of yoga. Because you cannot think about having a knowledgeful state without sitting in yoga. So Baba says that this is the practice that you need to do every day. And then before and at Amrit Vela, Numa Sham, we have traffic control timings. So you have to practice to be soul conscious and remember Baba. Right? So you have to have this practice. Now, I will talk a little about soul consciousness today. So you see, Baba has given us the knowledge that I am a soul and I am like a point of light. My temporary address is the Brikuti. Okay, so this is my temporary address. And what is my permanent address? My home, the world of peace and light. That is the permanent address of the soul. And then my all relationships are with my Baba. A soul doesn't have any direct relationship with any other soul. If I don't have a relationship with Baba, then I cannot have a proper relationship with any soul. Because if I don't have a relationship with Baba, then I have a vicious relationship with every soul. But if I understand and I maintain that relationship, that only one and only relationship that I have, which is with my Baba, then I have an indirect relationship with every soul. That is the relationship of a brother and brother. So basically it's a brother as a soul, not a brother and sister. So even the relationship of a brother with every soul is indirect. So you cannot say that I have a brotherly relationship with every soul if you don't know the father. Yes? Can you have a brother without a father? No. So you have to have first relationship with Baba, then indirect relationship with every soul, that of a brother. So Baba says this is soul consciousness. So first thing, my form, my home, and then the understanding and the realization that my only relationship is with my Baba. My only direct relationship, eternal relationship is with my Baba. And then I remember my whole journey. So just like when you are in body consciousness, can you forget your past, present and future? Can you forget your past, present and future as a body? So when you are in body consciousness, you remember your whole story in this body. Yes. And I remember there was this brother and he was from Kashmir, and he was in a lot of trauma, and he kept telling me, this happened to my people and that happened to my people, and he was very traumatized. And then he was also in a lot of anger. And then I asked him, okay, so that happened to your people, but what happened to you? Tell me about your story, your life from when you were born until today. What happened to you? Did something wrong happen to you? So then he said, no, nothing I can remember of. It was all okay. So I said, then why are you carrying the burden of so many, ages and so much of history? Why are you carrying it? Just because you're hearing it, you're carrying so much of that history in your buddhi that is giving you so much trauma. And have you seen there is a practice of speaking the history of trauma? So do you know that, wherever there have been wars and there have been, so you go to Amritsar and then they'll show you the Jallianwala Bagh, and then they will show you, that this is how tragedy happened here. So then you see you are carrying all that in your awareness, and then you are carrying so much of animosity for those who did it, but you never experienced any of it, did you? You didn't experience any of it, but then you experienced the trauma of all that history that you read. And so, there are these memoirs of war that are kept, and then those, I personally feel, that's not a good idea, because when you keep that, then you keep revising it, and then you keep, refreshing that haunted memory, and then you keep feeling that trauma and pain, whereas it's not your burden to carry, or it's not something you should suffer for. So do you understand the importance of history? Because we anyways carry a lot of history with us, whether it's the history of the past second, or it is the history of what's told to us, or the very remote history, but it's all very limited. So when Baba says limited history, it means that something that started from the Copper Age. So we are not talking about the good times. So all the history is about all the bad news that happened. And then you see, when you're body conscious, you carry the history of your religion, your country. Which religion? The religion of the body. Which religion? Which country? The country of your body. And you carry the history of your family, that family which is a part of this life, it is part of this body, and then you carry all that history, or what happened to you in this body. You carry all that history with you, and all the trauma that history brings with itself, and then you burden yourself with it, and then you have some bizarre ideas about the future also. So you have, when you think about the future, you think about all the bad things that can happen or that are going to happen, and you think about where the world is going, and you think about your insecurities, you think about death. So you see that when we think about the past and the future in a limited way, it doesn't give us any solace. Yes, and how many of you remember the past and become happy? And even if you become happy for 5 seconds, the next moment, what do you think? Oh my God, why is it gone? Why doesn't it come back? And why doesn't it repeat itself? And then you're nostalgic, and again you go back into that trap of missing it. So even if you remember the good things, they last only for 5 seconds, and then you start remembering why did you lose it and what happened, and then you start blaming somebody, or you just start blaming the time, and this is what happens. So Baba tells us that it is a normal phenomena to have a sense of history and future. So that's an aspect of the intellect. The intellect will also always go into the past and the future. and also how you perceive your present. That's also another aspect of it. Now, when Baba gives us knowledge, then Baba gives us the knowledge of the past, present, and future in the context of I, the soul. Yes, and when I am soul conscious, what is my past, present, and future? So my past is I was a soul in the soul world, absolutely peaceful. Then I became a deity in the deity world, and then my present is that I'm sitting in the lap of Baba, and my future is I'm going to be a deity. So this is our past, present, and future in the unlimited sense. And Baba tells us that we must, so when you are soul conscious, your sense of self, your sense of your own nature. So when you think about yourself in a body conscious way, you ask anybody, what is your nature? They will describe 10 bad habits, 10 personality traits that disturb them, and they will say, this is my nature. And I remember there was this one girl, she was 18, and I asked her, what is your nature? What is your personality trait? So she said, I'm very difficult to please. So I said, that's your personality trait. And then if you carry this in your awareness that I'm very difficult to please, then all day what are you doing? You're trying to find reasons why something or somebody cannot please you, because you want to hold on to that personality trait. You don't want to lose who you are, do you? So everybody, we have a sense of self, and we are pretty possessive about our sense of self, and we don't want to lose that sense of self. And if you define yourself in this negative manner, then you will try to maintain those negative traits so that you don't lose yourself. And that's not a good idea. So you see, if somebody says, I am very authoritative, or I am very, nobody dares not to listen to me, then you want to keep up that personality. And then what do? You keep scaring everybody and keep getting violent with everybody, because that's about you. You want to uphold that personality trait. So what is your sense of self? So Baba says that when you're soul conscious, your sense of self is I am a pure, peaceful, loveful, blissful, powerful, knowledgeful being. So when you look at yourself like that, then you want to perform actions, you want to think thoughts, you want to speak words, you want to conduct yourself in a manner in which that sense of self reinforces itself. So being soul conscious is about knowing your nature as a soul, knowing your relationship, that all your relationships, all your attainments are with Baba, knowing your whole history, and knowing that what is most important to you right now is you've had 84 births, and now you are at that phase in your journey where you have to go back and come back to the new world. And I remember, there was this one brother, he's 88 years of physical age. And when he came to the center, I asked him, what is your concern right now? So he came for the first time, and I asked him, what is your concern right now? What is it that you want at this time? So he said, I want nothing. I just want to die peacefully. And he said, I don't care about anything anymore. I've seen enough of the world, and I just want to die peacefully, and I want you to tell me the method to do that. That's a different story, that as soon as I started the class, he slept, so he couldn't listen to anything. So, he was not in that awakened state. So I just told him that, you sit in meditations and stuff. But the thing is that, when you are body conscious, and you know your age. Yes, you, as when you think you're a body and the body is 88, then you realize that now my only concern is to leave the body, and my only concern is to leave it peacefully. Now Baba says, when you know that you are not the body, you're the soul. So however little or huge the body is, however young or old the body is, as a soul, you are in the last phase. You are in your retirement time. And now your only concern is, how do I go back properly? And how do I go back in peace? How do I go back to my soul world, to my home, without receiving any punishment? So Baba says that you want to be soul conscious, you have to practice these aspects of your existence as a soul. So until unless you dwell deeply on these, that what is my nature, where is my home, what is my journey, where am I at in my journey, who is the one who is mine, who do I have to remember, and then when you remember Baba, you sit in awareness that I am a soul, then the only one you remember is Baba, because the only one who is going to take you across is Baba. So Baba says you have to practice to be soul conscious, practice remembering Baba. And it is with this direction, when you follow this direction, that you can go back home and then you can come back to that world of happiness. Now, Baba says that one who is soul conscious will never have any desires in this old world. Yes, just like I gave you the example of that brother, he said, I have no desires in the old world because I know I have to leave now. And what do we know? We know that this whole world is going to perish the way it is. So whatever you attain in this world is very, very transient, very, very perishable. So that's why you don't have any desires in this world. You know, whatever you do, maybe, see, you have a profession, you don't leave it. You do some work, you don't leave it. You have some responsibilities, you don't leave it. But you don't have any attachments or desires in it. Because you know that, 24 hours of a day you cannot pass by just sitting in meditation. So that's your time pass. You are doing your job, you are, doing seva of the family members you're living with. So all that is a time pass, but your concern is not whether you pass or fail in it. Your only concern is, what karma am I creating while doing it? What state am I in while doing it? Am I in Baba's remembrance while I'm doing it? So you have to be a karma yogi. So the aspect you're concerned about is the yoga part. That am I in remembrance of Baba while I'm doing it? You are not concerned about what you are doing, because you have to do something, so you're doing what you're doing. But your concern is how you're doing it. And Baba says that you don't have any desires or attachments in this old world. And if you have desires in this old world, then that means you have not understood anything. You have not understood that you are a soul, you have not. And what does understanding you are a soul mean that you have not understood? Because as a soul, you know that you now have to go back. Say, and this world is going to, renew itself. It's not going to stay the way it is. So whatever you attain in this phase of life, in this world, is going to be very temporary. So Baba says that you have desires if you don't understand this knowledge very well. And then Baba says that if you wear things which are very expensive, and these days, what is the most expensive things people put on? The phone. Yes? And these days people don't wear a lot of jewelry also. They are more interested in phones and bags and I don't know what else. And I remember there was this one brother and he was wearing something on the hand, the cuff link, and he told me it's worth 50 lakhs. And I said, okay. So I said, you keep watching your hand all the time or not? So he said, yes, I'm even scared somebody might cut and take it away. So do you understand, if you're wearing something worth 50 lakhs on your hand, then what is your state of mind? You're always, your Buddhi Yoga is with that cuff link. So Baba says that if you wear, so that's why, Baba has given us this direction that have a very moderate lifestyle. Baba says, Baba doesn't ask us to wear torn clothes and dirty clothes, and Baba says, no, you wear something that's moderate, that's clean, that's ironed, that's, that's proper to look at, but not something very expensive or very that which attracts the eye. So Baba says you have a very middle path, because if you do that, then how will you have yoga with Baba? Because your yoga will be with that expensive thing that you're wearing. So even if it's an expensive dress, your whole Buddhi Yoga is with that dress. So Baba says, you do not engage in this kind of behavior if you understand knowledge. And so Baba says that these are the signs whether you understand knowledge or don't understand knowledge. And Baba says whether you are soul conscious or not will be expressed through your activity. And I remember, there was this picture of one sister, and she just had this, this braid in the front. So she just put her hair in the front, and then that picture was clicked, and then one Badi Didi was seeing that picture, and she said, this girl has a lot of body consciousness. And then he said, why do you say that? So she said, you see, she's so concerned about her hair, she has to put it in front so that the picture comes fine. So I said, is that so obvious? So she said, yes, that's so obvious, because why would you do that otherwise? What's the problem with your hair tied and, tightened and pulled back? So you see that there are very many things. It might not be something very expensive. It might not be something very prominent, but even little things show how body conscious you are. I'll tell you another very striking example of body consciousness. You pass by any glass. It's not even a mirror, it's the glass of a car, and you're looking at your face in it. Very body conscious. So when you left home, you looked at your face, right? Your face is the same. It has not changed in 10 minutes. So why do you need to look at it every now and then? So that's very body conscious. And Baba says that, these activities, very small and big activities, they show how body conscious or how soul conscious you are. And then, there are other activities also, like if you pay a lot of attention to your sleep, and, I'm not asking you to be sleepless, but if you cannot handle lack of sleep, if you cannot handle tiredness, that's very body conscious. What is the body for? It's for seva, right? It's for seva. So when you are doing seva, when you have time, you sleep well. When you don't have time, when there is seva, then if you're feeling tired and sleepy, that's all very body conscious. And I have seen that if you are in Baba's remembrance, you can do seva 5 nights, 5 days continuously without sleeping. You can take small naps and that will be fine. So Baba says that and then what you say, if you are criticizing somebody, if you're talking ill about somebody, if you derive pleasure out of taunting somebody, commenting on somebody, or if you feel like putting somebody down, all that is very body conscious. So Baba says that, and I remember, there was this one Mata, and everybody, she would address everybody as Moti and Patli. So, if somebody has less weight, then she would address that person as, why are you so thin? Why are you so fat? And then I asked that Mata one day, what is their ideal weight? So, what weight should everybody be? So, then she said, no, there's no ideal weight. So I said, but you keep obsessing about it. Do you understand that? That's another thing, if somebody is giving somebody some direction according to, goodwill is something else, but not this. So Baba says that we have many acts of body consciousness. I saw in Madhuban once two matas were just going up the lift, and then one mata is looking at another one's earring and saying, oh, beautiful diamonds, where did you buy it? So I said, why? You are here to look at each other diamonds. You could have gone to a kitty party and done that. Why did you come to Madhuban to do this? So you see this is all, these are the activities that show you are soul conscious or body conscious. And then this is the aspect of what you shouldn't do but you're doing. But then if you don't do what you should do, if you're not remembering Baba, if you say, I don't have time for yoga, if you're not doing seva, that seva for which Baba has left his home and come, if you're not participating in that seva, if you don't have any regard for Baba's directions about seva, then that means that is also very body conscious. So Baba says activities and seva show how soul conscious or body conscious you are. And if you really want to be soul conscious, practice, and then it should reflect in your activities, in your seva. And that's Baba's foremost direction. Foremost direction is that you have to be soul conscious if you want to go back home. Om Shanti.